memorial service and interment of ashes for James Bruce Lithgow, Mary Lithgow and Colin Hunter. It's great to see you all here in this lovely weather. And it'll be a fairly informal service, and towards the end the RSL will do a little ceremony as well. So that'll be nice, and a bugler present, so that's terrific. And as I said, we want to make it informal. And the thing you should remember that near the beginning we're going to do a little bio of the three, you know, not very much, but then if you've got any reflections on the three people we're honouring today, you might want to say a few words, a little incident or a little story, but we're not going to go on about it. We're not going to do it for hours. You know, I'll be getting twitchy after 15 minutes. So yeah, so let's just keep it down, but be to the point. So let's begin. There's some photos, as you can see. So let's go. Welcome everyone, and thank you for coming. We have come together to give thanks for the lives of Bruce and Mary Lithgow, our parents, grandparents, great-parents and friends, and Colin Hunter, our husband, father, grandfather, uncle and friend. I don't think I've missed any connections there, but yeah. We also come to inter their ashes. The ashes of Bruce having previously been interred at Maxville, New South Wales, Mary's at the Northern Suburbs Crematorium in Sydney, and Colin's with family, Barb in fact.
In my wardrobe.
In your wardrobe, yes. So I was a bit formal there. We remember them with love and affection, and we honour them. Some of us knew them directly, and some of us knew them through others. But however they are known to us, we remember them with gratitude for what they gave to us, and in the remembering we will return and place their ashes in the locality where they spent most of their lives together, and Colin to a place where he lived and worked for many years. If love is one thing that can be passed down from generation to generation, then Mary, Bruce and Colin, you have done your job. For the love that was in your hearts is now in ours, and we can never forget you. Your love surrounds us every day. You are part of us forever. Now we come to the memory section and the reminiscences and stories. So I'm going to give a little thumbnail bio of Bruce and Mary, and then Barb is going to give us a little bio of Colin. So James Bruce, known as Bruce, was the sixth child and third son of John William and Ada Elizabeth Lithgow, and he is my grandfather. And you match him as you can.
He's responsible for all of this.
Yes, for this catastrophe, yes. Bruce was born in Gilgandra on 20th of June 1894. He was described as a tall, thin man with black hair and brown eyes. Not much is known of his early life, at least I don't know much of his early life, except for a story where he was attacked by a sow in the sty in Gilgandra in 1908, and he was rescued by a dog. And it made the Sydney Morning Herald and also the Western Australian. I found it in the West Australian, so there you go. And he joined the army, and his service record I think we'll hear from the RSL later. While on leave in England, Bruce met Mary Brook, a red-haired English girl who was a nanny for the Wilmot family in London. She was born in Lewisham, which is 11 kilometres out of the centre of London. We don't know much about her early life other than she was a nanny, a great singer and pianist. And we'll hear some music later, I think, when Wendy was of her favourite music. Bruce and Mary lived at Lockwood, 2 or 3 miles to the north of Gilgandra. This was Bruce's first property. He later moved to Glenroy, 10 miles north of town. They later retired in the late 50s, I think, and moved to Lane Cove in Sydney, then Nambucca Heads.
1954.
1954, it was earlier than I thought. And then to Nambucca Heads, and then that's where Mary died. And later Bruce moved to Maxville and then died there. So that's a very, very slim bio. How about Colin, Barb?
Okay. I first met Cole when he came to Gilgandra. He came in the late 1950s and we met...
Late 1940s.
Colin came to Gil in 1950.
Yeah, okay, earlier.
Yeah. Late 1950.
Oh, okay, the year, sorry, yeah.
We got right?
Yeah.
Move on.
Anyhow, we met at the Presbyterian Church Young People's Group. And it had been said to him by a couple of school teachers that had been invited out to the farm for a weekend by Ronnie, that you should get an invite to the Lithgows. Well, we met at the Presbyterian Church and became friendly. He was as shy as could be. He was 20, I think, at that stage. And he was a shy redhead. He liked reading books, and I thought, geez, a bit stuffy, you know. I have to stir this man up.
Yeah.
And which I managed to do. Anyway, we invited him out to the farm, and he tried his best. He'd lived in Brisbane and town, city, bringing up. And Dad got him to ride on the back of the machine that opens up the crop and does the sheaves of hay. They don't do that anymore, no doubt, but they did then. And he said to Cole, could you just ride on the back and occasionally it jams and give me a touch on the shoulder? Well, Cole was big, strong. Dad was really quite thin and not so strong looking. So the thing jammed and he went like this and nearly knocked Dad off the tractor seat. That was one farming thing, you know. And then another time, he thought he'd be really helpful and cut some wood for Dad. And Dad had put a new axe handle in. So he takes one blow and the axe handle breaks. And if people thought Dad wasn't patient, they didn't see him then. He never said anything cranky or he just put a new axe handle in. Cole had another go and broke that. And he still was patient. So although Dad was a hard-working man and really in those days that's what they did. They didn't do a lot of the socially things that we do, but he always wanted, if we went to town shopping, we might get home to Gil on rough roads like they are, and he'd say, I think we ought to go back into town, go to the ABC Cafe and have fish and chips and go to the pictures. And Mum and Dad had a permanent seat in the front row upstairs at the picture theatre. No one else dared sit there because that was Mr. and Mrs. Lithgow's seat at the picture theatre.
Wow.
That's just a little background. He liked playing bowls, and that was his. He'd play bowls, and Mum would sit in the park with the other wives and have a cup of tea, and the fellas would have a beer each end, I think, and have a happy time. But in those days there was no RBT, so they would just drive home. That was all right. So that's just a little background. If that's sufficient, Brian.
I think that, you're happy with that.
Yeah.
Are there anyone else wants to share a memory? Or?
I remember when Pa came to stay with us in Kempsey, I think it was, or maybe it was Merriwa. Anyway,
I think it was Musselbrook.
Musselbrook.
Sorry,
and
no,
he
you're right,
was
Merriwa.
sharing a room with Stuart.
That was Kempsey.
Kempsey. And Stuart came out, Mum, Pa comes apart. Because he'd taken his false teeth out and put in one glass and taken his glass eye out and put in another glass.
Anyone else?
The only, I don't have a lot of memories of Pa, even though I was reasonably, older when he died. He was always quiet and we always thought quite stern. But you grow to understand why he was like that. He wasn't mean or anything, but he was just stern, we thought, as younger people. But I can remember, and I'm not sure where it was, but whenever he'd come and stay, Mum and Dad would always take him down to the bowls club or somewhere because he liked, as you know, he liked his beer. And we'd get put out in the park and waiting for
Because you couldn't take children into pubs
waiting
those days.
waiting for them to have had enough beers, and we'd get cherry cheer and some chips or something and have to look after ourselves out in the park while Pa and Mum and Dad were and it always seemed to take a long time. And it probably wasn't, but yeah, I just have those memories of that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd like to add an addition just to that. It was in Lismore this particular time. We were probably only in there enough time to have 2 drinks, and I went out and checked on the kids. Anyway, when we came out, Debbie had been leaning over watching the women playing bowls, and one lady had said, "Where are your mum and dad?" "Oh, in the pub, having a beer with Grandpa."
Anyone else? Is there an ice cream story about Colin?
Oh,
Yeah.
ice
Oh,
cream
that's
Cole.
Chris, come on, Chris.
Come on.
What? You got an ice cream story?
Oh, I can only remember walking down Gilgandra Main Street with Auntie Barbara and Uncle Cole before they got married, and I'm sure we were sent out as kids
To keep your eye.
keep an eye on they didn't get up to any bad things, and we'd have to pester Cole for an ice cream.
Blackmail.
Well, the other memory of Dad that's really strong is his rumble. So
Yeah, with the babies.
with the babies, when you had babies and they were upset, Dad would rumble them. So he'd sit in the chair and just put them on his chest and rumble, and they'd always go off to sleep. So
Yeah,
and he actually did that with me when I was about 14 and very ill, and I sat on his lap and he rumbled me off to sleep. So
And with the rumbles, quite often Dad would rumble himself to sleep. You'd go in and the baby would be laying on his chest looking at you going, "I've put Grandpa to sleep, what do I do now?"
How true.
And a gentleman to the ice cream story, even to when my kids would bust Grandpa at the ice cream shop, they would still get a free ice cream.
And the golden handshake.
Yeah, and so more ice cream stories. Dad, when we'd go on holidays, Dad would put money into a jar, and if we were going away for a week or a fortnight, he'd give us $2 for every day so that he could shout everybody an ice cream, and $2 was enough to buy for us 5 ice creams. So his ice cream story, went through, and then with the kids, he'd shake their hand before they left or whatever, and he'd push some money into their hand as well. So yeah, he loved his ice creams.
Bruce, you got something?
So that going back to the ice cream, I remember at Barbara's wedding,
Barbara Norris.
our sister Barbara, when she got married to Jeff Hines, we ducked up the street and brought Uncle Cole an ice cream and came back and boozed him up in the middle of the wedding reception with an ice cream.
Something like
He
that.
did.
I was just Rach just reminded me that Dad had a really good frown, and we just want to tell everyone that it's lived on in Reggie, little Reggie over here. So if you just observe him through the day, you will very definitely see Cole's frown.
He's embarrassed now.
That's all right, he'll frown
Yeah,
shortly.
just something I'd like to mention.
Stu.
When I was a youngster, and the only way to communicate in the suburb was Dad's whistle. So,
When we lived at Marywall.
before then,
Kempsey.
Kempsey.
Camera.
Yeah, we'd be out doing whatever kids were allowed to do. Now they've got to be helicoptered so much. But back then, you just went and played. School was finished, you'd raided the biscuit barrel at home or whatever, and you got out to play with your friends. And sometime in the afternoon, we'd basically all just got to go, each of us, wherever we were, because we'd all heard Dad's whistle. Probably whoever was with us didn't hear it, but we just knew to listen to Dad's very, very loud, piercing whistle he could do from the backyard. And yet you'd fill the suburb, go, "Oh, I'm off home." And if we didn't get home, we get roused on. If we got roused on, there was usually a belt involved. But the whistle is the good part of the story. The other one I just want to talk about is Dad did a lot of volunteer treasury work for a lot of clubs. I don't know how many.
Nearly every town we were in.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, he did. Yeah. Anything else?
Cole actually had 2 whistles. There was the one to summon everybody home, and there was the one when Deb and I were at school and going out together, as you did. And we'd be in another room, and there would be the "I'm coming down the hall" whistle, which was quite lyrical and just
That was a warning.
just a
on
bit
my
of a
way.
warning. Yeah.
Leanne's got a story
Oh,
to
yeah,
tell
well, I
about
have to
Marywall.
tell the pink top dog pajama story. So Michael and I have been together for a very long time. We met when we were 14 in high school in Narromine, and we had a back veranda area at the house in Narromine, and we'd sit out the back in the bean bags, cuddling. And one day, we lived across the road from a pub, and people would pull their vehicles up, their back wheels up on the footpath, spin the wheels, and it would put gravel against the fence and make a hell of a racket and wake mum and dad up. This happened often, so we didn't realise this was happening outside, but Dad came, so big long hallway, Michael and I sitting in beanbag at the end having a bit of a cuddle, and Dad storming down the hallway in his pink polka dot pyjamas, a thunderstorm on his face and a broom in his hand, and Michael goes, huh, with his arms. And Dad's gone straight past the outside.
I love it. The pink polka dot pyjamas. That would have been a sight.
Yeah, Mary was a great singer. She used to sing on the way home from the movies, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
I remember as a little kid, I mean, she was like a second mother to me.
Yeah, she was.
She used to sing Rio, Rio, Rita, and it was a lovely, but she also had lots of other songs.
Yeah, a lot of her songs were about England.
Yes, yes.
We'd go home from these movies in Gill, and we would, because there were no car radios or anything, so we'd sing all the way home. And they were mostly the lights of London town and those sort of songs.
Road to Tipperary.
And the Road to Tipperary, all those things. And it was lovely. But I was right, I'll never forget this. I was probably about 7, and I was in the truck, in the front seat, Dad, Mum, stinking hot day, no air conditioning, and Mum had pulled her dress up over her knees because it was hot. And I said, oh, Mum, pull your dress down. Like, I just, it haunts me that I did that. Mum, pull your dress down.
All right. Are we nearly done? Or?
Yep.
Nearly done? Well, thank you for all those memories. I've learnt a lot. I learnt a lot.
You didn't realise I was such a prude, did you?
No, I didn't. Struck me. So we're on page 6, and we're going to say together, the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, therefore can I lack nothing. He will make me lie down in green pastures, and lead me beside still waters. He will refresh my soul and guide me in right pathways for his name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff comfort me. You spread a table before me in the face of those who trouble me. You have anointed my head with oil, and my cup shall be full. Surely your goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. A reading for the book of Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Prayers of thanksgiving. Thanks be to God for the gift of life. You have made us in your image and called us to reflect your truth and light. We thank you for the life of Bruce, Mary and Colin, who were loving and giving people who contributed to the community and their families in so many ways. We thank you for your gracious promise to all your servants living and departed, that we shall be made one again in our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. And the Lord's Prayer. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I'd like to call on the President of the RSL, Bruce Lansdowne, I think.
Forward.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got. He was going to give us the RSL ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bruce Hallwood. I'm the Gilgandra RSL Sub-Branch President. We have come here today to pay our respect to James Bruce Lithgow, who served in the Armed Forces as an Australian soldier. When our country was involved in war and conflict, volunteered his service to keep the enemy from reaching our shores, to defend and give assistance to other countries from the torment, suffering and the tragedy of war. James Lithgow was prepared to sacrifice his life for the freedom and future of you and I and our families. We must never forget what this man has done for us. Today we say farewell and pay tribute to 5048 James Bruce Lithgow. Statement of service reads, full name, James Bruce Lithgow, service number 5048, category of service, Army. Date of enlistment was the 31st of January 1916. Date of discharge was the 30th of November 1919. Rank on discharge was private. Unit name was the 34th Battalion. Operational service and deployment was in France from the 22nd of September 1916 to the 21st of June 1919. His honours and awards were British War Medal and the Victory Medal. Their bodies lie in peace, and their names live forever. Our valiant hearts, who to your glory came, through the dust of conflict and battle flame. Tranquilly you lay, you'll not be virtue proved, your memory hallowed in the land you loved. The hour has come for rest. This poppy, the emblem of sacrifice, the symbol of life of unashamedly in the service of one's country, is a link between our departed comrade and those of us who remain. We place this poppy here in remembrance of your courage and sacrifice. If anyone here would like to come forward and place the poppy on the casket, please do so after me. Let's place it over there.
No, you just would have been on the top of it. Oh, there's a hole in it.
We'll go behind the implementation, Jeff. The badge is pinned in, it's not blue. That's fine.
If you can, would you please be upstanding, which we all are. Remain seated. It's okay. And we'll pause for a minute silence. Bugler, sound the last post. shall grow not old, as we that are old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
Bugler, sound rebellion. That concludes the RSL tribute.
Thanks.
We now come to commit the ashes of our dearly beloved Bruce, Mary and Colin. In placing their ashes in this place, we think again of all that these our loved family members have meant to us, and we dedicate this place in these natural surroundings to every beautiful and precious memory associated with Mary, Bruce and Colin. We now lay their ashes in this sacred wall, grateful for the lives that they have lived and for all that their lives have meant to us. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And a blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. This concludes the service of Thanksgiving and reinterment of ashes. Thank you all for coming. But before you race away, I think I'd like to thank Bruce, David and Anne for their attendance today from representing the RSL. Very much appreciated.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so much. Yeah.
And I'm glad the bugler got going in the cold.
It was too cold.
Yeah, that's right. No, you did very well. Yeah.
Can I just say, I really appreciate all of you who've come today, everyone for whatever reason, and for Wendy's hard work and anybody else that did anything to contribute to today. My family of all, I've wanted this to happen for a very long time, and I feel like I was beginning to run out of time to do it, and they've helped me do it, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Bart. Yeah. I think Stu and Bruce get a special mention too for their hard work.
Everybody.
Yeah, but everybody
they know
got
who
it.
they
Everyone
are.
put in really well, and we saved a spot for Mum, so that even if she didn't get it done while she was breathing, she was going to get here anyway. So that's a really good thing, right?
The plaques are just beautiful still.
Yes.
They really are, and to see their faces, it's
We were
special.
saying to your mum though that you need to make up a plaque for her and just leave the end date and we'll do it in permanent marker.
You can do it a sweet. We can pick a year and month or something like that.
The
The
order
order
of
prize.
proceedings now is an order of proceedings. When's the lunch?
Well, we're doing a barbie at the Services Club at whatever. So maybe if we're there from 12.
12
You need
o'clock
to
at
go
the
off and
service
do-
club. And we're having a treasure hunt before then, aren't we? We've
We're
got to
going
find
up
a
to
few
see
graves.
Yes,
Yeah,
we've
we've
got
got to find Ronnie.
We've got to find Ronnie's over there.
Ronnie
and,
Lithgow.
and Dad's mum and Dad are over there.
Are they over near Ronnie somewhere?
Over that way. Is that Presbyterian, is it, that way?
Yeah, Ronnie is over near Grandma and
Now,
Grandpa.
Barbara's got a very good prize for it.
What is it?
if you
And
find it.
also, Ronnie's grandson's buried here, Lyle Gwynn. And he's, I think, maybe
Oh,
some, yeah.
Christine's.
Can I say before we all head off to, it's so nice to see all our cousins together. It's really cool because it doesn't happen very often. And
I don't think we've been together. We were talking.
1981 was our reunion we had in Newcastle.
Yeah,
No, I
but
wasn't there.
Barb's funeral would have been last time that many
I
of us
wasn't
got
back
together.
there. So it's so nice to see you all because you're all
Yeah.
important parts of our lives when we were young.
We did work it out, didn't we?
It's it's wonderful to have all of Joyce's remaining kids and all of Mum's kids together, and